It's been a while since my last video, and those of you who have followed me the previous year on YouTube will have noticed that my videos were all over the place, and I would like to say that that was by design, because I wanted to try out new ways to tell stories. I wanted to implement some vlogging techniques. My plan is to take it a bit differently this year. I want to return back to photography, or I should say visual storytelling, because I also want to talk about video, social media, things like that. But it will be mainly the stuff that I've been doing for a living and for fun for years now. And my idea is to just be a bit more consistent and turn out a bit more videos in 2017. So this year I'm hoping to put out more regular content, and that can be short videos, long videos, can be about equipment reviews, Q&As, technique. Anything is possible. We'll see how it goes. But for this very first video of 2017, I don't want to talk about equipment. I don't want to talk about techniques. I want to talk about something that is very dear to me, and I want to show you a video that I created a couple of days ago. I consider myself a storyteller, and I'm always looking for new ways to tell stories in a better way. So I'm always trying out new gear, following what's been announced, what's new on the market. I'm trying out new techniques. I'm experimenting with post-processing, with workflows, with everything that can make my work better. But if you're anything like me, sometimes that can be a bit too much. And you just get so chaotic with all of this information that you don't see your way out. And that's when I need a reset button. Let me show you my reset button. Here it is. This is a Fujifilm 35mm lens, or a 50mm equivalent lens in full frame. And this corresponds to a natural view. It's a bit like our eyes see. For other photographers, they prefer a 35mm equivalent lens or 23 on a crop sensor. You could probably say like the 23mm is a bit like the way our eyes see, including the peripheral view, and a 50mm equivalent lens works the way that our eyes see perfectly in focus. So whenever I get stuck, I'll take one of these lenses, and it's also handy if you actually mount it on a camera, and I just shoot with a camera and the 50mm equivalent lens. And the first time that I really found out how powerful this combination is when I did a project called 50-50. Back in the days, I was still shooting a Canon 5D Mark II, and I set myself the assignment to shoot for 50 days straight with a 50mm lens. I'm Bert Stephani, and this is 50-50. For 50 days, I'll be shooting my life through this 50mm lens. These videos are still online because I made YouTube videos about it, which is just the images I made every day. They're still online, so let's link them so you can see what I did over there. The main thing that I took out of this 50-50 project was confidence. The confidence that I could do pretty much anything with just a 50mm equivalent lens. And that gave me an incredible sense of freedom, because at that point I didn't need two cameras with two big zoom lenses and flashes and everything. I could still work around. I could always find a solution to get the story across with just that lens. And ever since that project, it's something that I've always come back to. Now, I don't see lenses in terms of focal length. I often see them in terms of character or what they can do. And the 35mm Fujifilm or Fujinon lens to me is my life lens, because to me that is the best lens to capture life in general. So it's always my first choice to take with me if we're out with a family or just at home with the kids, or photographing my friends. But then I figured out that why don't I shoot my clients in the same way? Even a couple of years ago, I did this little project that was called I Shoot for Free. So basically, I announced that I would be doing free photo shoots with couples, families, individuals, old people, young people, doesn't matter. Because I really wanted to set myself a challenge again. And I shot basically all these pictures with the X-Pro2 and the 35mm 1.4 at that time. And again, that was so liberating to do a photo shoot with, just this and an extra battery. That was all I was taking for these photo shoots. And people responded very positively to those images. So I figure that was really something that had another impact on my work, because I started to use that lens more in a professional environment. Now, for portraits, people generally advise to get a bit of a longer lens, something like an 85mm equivalent, or in Fuji terms, like the 56 1.2 is a great portrait lens. And it's true that a 35 is not the easiest lens for portraits. You don't have that out of focus depth of field thing that you have with longer lenses. You don't have the compression effect. When I find myself with just this lens and I have to shoot a portrait, I don't see it as a limitation at all. In fact, it's something that I often challenge myself with, is to shoot portraits with a 35mm lens. Another natural habitat for a 50mm equivalent lens is for things like street photography and travel photography. Henri Cartier-Bresson was a big fan of the 50mm lens. I think he shot most of his pictures with just that. Last year I was in Cuba and I only took this and an X70, which basically gave me a 28mm equivalent lens and a 50mm equivalent lens, and I never felt limited by just having these two lenses. And the thing is that if you have too many options, you don't see. And if you learn one lens really well, you just know where to stand for the picture. You know how to anticipate. A lot of the paid work that I do, a lot of my assignments are documentary in nature. And that goes from weddings to events, corporate events, but also I use a lot of documentary photography techniques in my commercial work. Generally, I try to first cover everything as fast as possible to have something with a zoom lens or two cameras, and then I go in and take my time and shoot with a 35 to get again more that live feel to the images. Working with a 35mm lens or a 50mm equivalent lens is both challenging and rewarding. You won't have the option to just zoom into your subject until it fills the frame. You will have to find another way to take the viewers by the hand and show them what your subject is. And you will notice that if you're forced to do it that way, your compositions become a lot better and also richer. My ideal picture has clear information of what the subject is of the picture. So either with composition or light or both, you just show your viewer this is the subject. But people who take a bit of extra time and look around the picture will discover other things, we'll discover the environment. And to me, that makes pictures a lot richer. People, when they first start photography, and I was not an exception, I would go for a fisheye lens or for a very long lens, because those images scream spectacular. With a lens that is very close to our human vision, you won't have that ability to play with the idea of spectacular. You will have to focus on the story. A lot of people who know me a bit better have been asking me lots of questions on how I work with just the simple setup of a camera and a 50mm equivalent lens. And I've been thinking about doing a workshop around that to focus again on the basics, to push people's reset button. I'm still working on the idea at the moment, but if you have any suggestions or if you are interested, also hit the comments below. And in the meantime, what are you waiting for? Get your 50mm equivalent lens and go out and shoot.